Yeah, it's game time, bro. Thank you. I sit down? Which one? Doesn't matter.
Hi everyone. I hope you enjoyed the screening. I'd like to introduce you to Roger Torres. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Roger Torres. Thank you so much for coming.
How are you feeling?
I feel really, really good. I think the screening went very well. Seeing it with family is always special, especially because they know who the people are in the film.
Yeah.
So that hit a little bit closer to them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hi family. Well, first and foremost, I read a bit about the film. I understand it originates from a very personal, traumatic event for you. Do you want to talk a bit about that and the origins of the story?
Yeah, I think it kind of came from two places. One, my grandmother suffered from some sort of condition. We never like defined it. It was either like schizophrenia or some mental condition. But I remember my mom told me that's what they thought it was, and I remember we moved away to get away from my grandmother because like in the house it was a little bit unsafe, and there was a night where my grandmother tried to break into our house and like see myself and my mom, and I remember as a kid thinking that was like if she was there to harm us and stuff like that. And maybe she was, I don't know. But as an adult, as I went back and analyzed that moment, I feel like she came to visit us because she missed us, and I wanted to explore like what love looks like through her lens. And like for her, it was banging on our door and like fighting. And like maybe that's trauma response, maybe that's like me kind of rewriting history, but that's the way I feel about it. And then secondly, my mom was a little bit of a soldier. She only cries during movies. And I remember when my grandmother passed, that was one of the only 3 times I've seen her cry from life. And I couldn't understand why she was crying. Because as a kid, not to be messed up, when my grandmother passed, I remember feeling like a little bit relieved. Not that I disliked her, but I just remember feeling like, oh, I don't get to be scared anymore. So I couldn't understand why my mom was sad. But then as an adult, as I reflect, I realized like how hard it is to love somebody that like you can't embrace anymore, and what that felt like moving away from her. So it came from those two moments and just wanting to understand what each of them felt.
Yeah, and I think that's really reflected in the film. I do want to ask during filming, because it's so personal to you, how do you sort of balance the on-set environment to like protect actors who are also going through that emotional turmoil with you, even though there is a distance between, this is a script, it's not necessarily real life, it comes from a real place. So how do you as a filmmaker balance those two?
So to understand the question specifically is how do you protect the actors on set?
Yeah,
Damn, that's a good one.
even.
Protecting myself too was important, but more so protecting the actors. It's more so about making sure they feel safe to go there emotionally. And I feel like the best way to do that as a director is you have to be willing to do that yourself. So on set, sometimes the best direction didn't come from like metaphors or telling them what to do. It just told them like how I felt or like what happened in the moment. Because the emotions are so heightened in the film, I feel like sometimes over explaining it was a disservice. It was just like she's trying to harm her protector, and like whatever you do is okay, like not really aiming for a goal, just letting them be, and then just telling them like if they need a break, which they did, that it was okay even if we were tight on time. Like I'd rather you feel protected as an actor. And then me as a director, it is what it is. Like I just have to go there on a daily basis. And I remember on day 2 at the end of it, I called my mom and I was just like crying, but I let it out, and then you just regroup for the next day because you're the leader of the team and you're the director.
Absolutely. Beautiful. I also learned that you come from a computer science slash programming background.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to understand how you think that impacts your filmmaking. I know you talked briefly about, well, not here, but in other articles I've read about your love of video games and storytelling in video games. So I'm really interested in how those two things kind of combine in your filmmaking.
Well, that's actually how I started. I see myself as a filmmaker, but I don't only want to do films. Like I'd be happy to make, like for example, one of my most influential pieces of media is The Last of Us, which is a video game and now an HBO show. Like I want to do both. And yeah, as a kid, I was super passionate about video games. I still am. And I at first thought I wanted to program them, and then after 4 years of programming, I realized this isn't for me. Like what interested me about it was the story and the characters and the music. And I ditched that my first year of undergrad, and I started pursuing filmmaking at the University at Buffalo. And then my passion just went crazy. Like it just never stopped.
you talk a bit more about what you want to do in the future? Any upcoming projects that you want to share?
Well, right now I'm trying to figure out how to be an adult.
Me too.
I just finished graduating from grad school and like life hit me so fast. Like my mom's already like, you got to get health insurance like right now, right now, right now. So I'm trying to navigate that life while also writing. And then like, this is my first time being in film festivals, so I'm figuring out all of that. It's a lot of work. Thank you, Titi. I've tried to figure that out. So like I am working, but to be transparent, not as much as I would want to. But as soon as I have health insurance, I will I will be writing my next feature. Yeah.
Until 25. I'm right there with you.
I got like 3 months, bro.
Well, I'd like to open it up for audience questions if there are any. Yes, Ty.
I'm assuming it's Irma.
Mhm. Yeah.
Irma. What was your biggest challenge on set? Not dealing with the emotional, aspect of your life,
Mhm.
being reflected on the screen, but just the your biggest challenge on set and how did you overcome it?
That's a good question. I think the most challenging part of the movie is the fact, like, if you watch it, it's kind of one continuous scene. So having to be, as a director, very technically efficient, also emotionally, like, intelligent about, like, how to get my actor to the same place every day. Because the ending scene, which is the most emotional scene in the movie, we split into 2 parts. So at the beginning of the last day of filming, my actors had to jump right to, like, crying and being a complete mess. So trying to make sure the arc of the emotion was fluent, no matter, like, if we were shooting things out of order. I think that challenged me a lot as a director. And then more so visually, I mean, it's been done before, but I've just never done it. Like, how do you keep an audience engaged when it's just one scene and it's one location? Like, the film's almost kind of like a play. Like, if we messed up something, there's no cutting away. Like, it just has to work. And so there was a lot of pressure on us to execute each scene almost, like, perfectly.
You did a good job with that, and I don't mean to hog up any time, but you did a good job with that because what you did, you were able to have that tense moment that people were waiting for. You could tell that the grandmother lied about the, getting help,
Mm-hmm.
and so you kind of like walked it along. You kind of walked us.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy. Doing it that way, it would be easy to keep them engaged, and you did a great job at it. So kudos to you and to your team.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Really good job.
Any other questions?
Yeah, fantastic job. You were just to piggyback off that a little bit, talking about using that space and keeping it interesting the whole time. Did you have access to that space before? Were you making discoveries kind of on the day, blocking wise?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get to do prep in that space? How did that work?
So one of the challenging things about that location is I wanted the family to feel low socioeconomic status, but it's actually a 2-story house. But we wanted space to be able to cheat camera angles. So in terms of like technicality, it's like how do you shoot it but make it feel smaller? But then as a director to practice blocking, like I just took a 3D scan of the space and I did 4 rehearsals with my actor, and in the rehearsals I would tape down the floor. So like their movement was like 80% plan. I didn't want to plan the whole thing because obviously on the day if they feel like doing something, I want them to feel free to do it. But yeah, it took a lot of like computer science, something like that.
That's a great question. Any other questions? Yes.
You said you took a 3D. So did you do blocking in like a on your computer or something like that?
No. So like I took like blue paper tape, and in our rehearsal space, I would like tape out the design of the floor and like where the couch is in proximity to, like it would just be like a piece of like cross tape, and like that's the couch. So they knew they had to land there, so that my cinematographer could plan how she was going to shoot it, and obviously like 80% there because on the day let them do whatever they want to do. But yeah, there was a lot of planning involved, especially because it's one continuous scene. Like we need to know where the camera would cut.
All right, folks, we have time for one last question. Yes.
As a fellow fan of video games myself, I'd love to know like what's one video game you would want to adapt to the big screen and why?
Oh dang, I need like 14 minutes. Hold on. Oof, damn, that's a tough one, man. Honestly, I mean, I think Matt Reeves is kind of doing it now, but I feel like the Batman Arkham series is like, I mean, you could probably rival that with Nolan's trilogy. And I would love to see that sort of adapted. But I think it might be best served as like a TV series because like it's so chunky. But the Matt Reeves Batman is getting pretty close to it. I would say that one, especially Arkham Knight. Like that one for me, it's close.
Well, I'm manifesting that for you.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
It'll happen. I want to thank you so much again for presenting here with us and talking to us, and obviously having your film with us. Irma was a personal favorite of mine, and it's amazing to meet you.
Mhm.
Thank you all for being here and engaging with us. And yeah, have a great day.
Thank y'all for coming.